And welcome to Impact 2024, our continuing conversation where we talk about all types of different topics, where we talk about current events, where we talk about religion, where we talk about race, where we talk about whatever you want to talk about. And we always invite everyone to participate in this conversation. You can do that by typing your questions and your comments into the comment section. So feel free, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, to go ahead and type in whatever you would like into the comment section so that you can be a part of the conversation. Add your 2 cents, as they say, or add your opinions, add your questions, and they will be put up on the screen and we will discuss them. We're not going to leave you out of the conversation because, again, this is a conversation. And you just don't want to listen to me talk. You want to be a part of it. And as we've been doing lately, I want to remind everyone about the offerings we have here at Amani Christian Ministries. On today, from 7 to 7:45, we have prayer. On Thursdays, we have Thursday Thursday, which is a weekly Bible study. Please be here. It's at 7 o'clock, Facebook and YouTube, same place, same channel, all that kind of good stuff. And then on Sundays at 10 Eastern Standard Time, we have worship service here. So please feel free to join us for all of those offerings as well. All right, and so let's get into it. Let's get into it as we always do. We talk about plenty of current events. I will tell you this. I know that you are probably like me and many other Americans and are sick and tired of political conversation, political back and forth. We haven't even got into the thick of it with ads and everything like that. But with the presidential election coming on, many senatorial and House races that are out here, not even including all the local stuff that may be going on, whether you're in a place that has governors or mayors or city council, school board, whatever. It's that time of the year. So fortunately, we're not going to talk about that. Unfortunately, there's plenty of things to talk about that aren't so rosy, and unfortunately, that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. One of the things that aren't so rosy. And so let's just go right there. And what we're talking about today is intellectual manipulation, intelligence being manipulated, being played on your intelligence. Whether you feel like you're smart or you know that you're smart or whatever, people are out here that they're playing with your intelligence. George Floyd, and many others. So George Floyd, we know his situation, what happened back then in 2020, where it was a large in stature African-American male who was manhandled, restrained by the police. And subsequently, he died. Well, they've been using this type of restraint and things on people all the time. When numerous times Black men have died at the hands of police officers due to restraints. And so some of the George Floyd, Elijah McClain, Daniel Prude, and the newest one is Devontae Mitchell. And what has happened is that on the one hand, you look at people who are saying that's police brutality, they're using too much force, they are restraining these people in a manner where they're saying they can't breathe, they're restraining these people to the point of death because they all die. Then you have the conversation of, well, they were out here acting wild and crazy, they're big, they are aggressive looking, we have to restrain them, and unfortunately they died. And so why did I say that this is a conversation of playing on your intelligence? Because there's a term that goes around that the first responders use. And this term, excited delirium, that's a term that's being used. And they coined it as a medical term. So excited delirium. And what is excited delirium? Basically, what that's saying is that the person is overly excited, overly exuberant when they get restrained by the police, to the point where they have a medical condition which causes them to die. It's a fatal medical condition based on the fact that their bodies are moving and going. They like to link it and associate it with, well, this person was on medication, or this person took a little bit of recreational drugs. And as a part of that, they got this excited delirium. Let me make sure I said it right again. Yeah, excited delirium. Now, here's the problem with that. Well, let's go on a little bit more. So first responders are literally writing this down in their reports as this is what's going on. Medical reports saying, yes, it appears to be a case of excited delirium that caused this particular incident to happen. So if the police come, you're sitting here, you're minding your business, or maybe you're doing some bad business, and they come and they say, all right, we're going to arrest you. You may feel uncomfortable with the situation. You may be a little bit aggressive with the situation. You may be resisting. Doesn't matter. And they get you, they put the cuffs on you, and they drop you to the ground. They put their whole weight on you. They put you on the ground, and they try to put weight near your neck area so that you can't breathe, or try to put you in a hold that they're not supposed to use. Different types of chokeholds and other type of restraints that they're no longer supposed to use because they can cause death. But they put you in these particular situations because they're saying you were too excited, too aggressive. And if for some reason you end up passing away, I don't know why you would pass away if somebody was cutting off your airways or jumping on you and restraining you into the ground, and you're telling them you can't breathe, and somehow magically you just die. I don't know what happens. But when those situations pop up, the medical examiner runs out here and they say, well, looks like this person, may have had their heart rate elevated and may have died consequently because of that. Maybe it was because they couldn't breathe and their airways were restrained, or maybe the pressure that was put on them put them in a position where their body couldn't get enough oxygen or whatever. But I'm going to put down that they had excited delirium, which the word excited, they just was in an excited moment, and delirium, where they were delirious, where they were just all over the place, really weren't in their right mind. I'm going to put those two words together and put that down in my medical synopsis of what happened. However, and I will read this directly to you, there is not a single major U.S. medical association that supports the term. That's from Human Rights USA. There is not a single major U.S. medical association that supports the term. So then why are people writing this down? Why are they using this? They're using this as a manipulative tool to support law enforcement, to support people when they do something they're not supposed to do. Support people who are committing a crime, but they don't want it to be a crime. They went further and said that medical examiners, coroner's offices, they should no longer use this term because it does not exist. It has no medical background to it, yet people use it. They use excited delirium. And so they use it over and over again to describe a situation where you have somebody, typically Black, but not even just that. But anytime they have somebody that they feel was aggressive or scary, officers, officers in many departments are told to look for people who have superhuman strength. They look like they have superhuman strength, or they look like they're non-compliant, and it's because they are excited. And that's some of the training. And so you have some of those words that are ingrained into you to say, all right, well, this person, he looks big, so let's be extra aggressive with him and really take him down. Or this person looks like they're being excited, so let's be extra aggressive with them and take them down. And those decisions are fake. Now, that's a conversation that we've had plenty of times where we were talking about police. And that's a conversation that we've had plenty of times where we're talking about what's wrong with policing and everything like that. But what's more important is the fact that a word, a term, a phrase, the word wasn't, the term and the phrase was made up. Excited delirium, just made up, just so they can fool you. And when I say you, that's because you and I, regular people, are the people who are in these courtrooms when these police officers go up for trial. Or we read the press releases when you see what's being put out there about, well, this person died at the hands of police and this person died at the hands of police. And remember, this isn't, they're going to use this excited delirium not just for people of color. I'm saying it that way because those are the examples that popped up. But they can use for anybody, you know. And so they're playing on our intelligence. They're playing on your intelligence, playing on everyone's intelligence, because we're the ones who are going to be ingesting this stuff. And it sounds like excited delirium. It sounds like, oh, that might be a real term. That sounds intelligent. Let's get on board with that. But it's not. It's to mask wrongdoing. It's to mask racial bias. It's to mask incompetence. I'm gonna use this. Hit the comment before I go forward. It is used to justify murder or manslaughter. Boom, right there. Right there. Great comment. It's right there. It's used to justify murder or manslaughter. Here's what's scary about that particular situation is that, as bad as that is, that's not the only situation where we do that. People use it all the time now, where we're making up, and this is not a new phenomenon, but I'm gonna talk about it like it's new. Nowadays, people are just making up words, making up terms, and putting it out there for you in order to fool you into thinking that their wrong is right. They're making up these terms and so that they can play on our intelligence. And they're making up these terms so that they can manipulate our minds. Why is this so important? And why am I talking about it today? Because this is a place of, that's what's going on in the church. There are a lot of random organizations, random people out here who are making up terms, making up concepts for the church. And we're falling victim to it. People are falling prey to it. More so the people who are outside of the church looking in. And that it's so dangerous for them because, unfortunately, if you're outside looking in and you are outside looking in and we're considering coming in, you hear some of these terms, you hear some of these concepts, and you say, well, that's not something I want to be a part of. But it truly has nothing to do with religion. It truly has nothing to do with the Christian faith. And so what's scary for us is it's the play on the intelligence. It is a playbook that is being run over and over again in a society. And one of the things that happens with us is that people love to have knowledge. People love to appear to be smart. People love to appear to have something that others don't have. And so when you hear these special terms, or you hear something special like, listen, don't nobody else know this. This is new. This is fresh. Don't nobody else know. They want you grab onto that. You decide that, oh, well, that's great. And so you look at different things. I just talked to you about politics. We're gonna go right back there. You look at Christian nationalism. Oh, well, we decided to put together a term that means nothing to make it sound new and fresh and elevated to the next level. You know, there are Christians, and then there are all these other different types and all these other different things that's going on that they're trying to put into play, playing on your intelligence. It sounds smart, sounds great, but let's go on with that. You know, there's parts where they're manipulating what's going on, prosperity over here, or, you know, bless those who bless themselves, and all of these different terms that are being used. But that's the playbook nowadays, is to put out things that sound very intelligent, excited delirium, and use those in order to justify inappropriate behavior. How do we combat that? How do you combat against that? I said this before. I've said it recently. It's my new mantra. I kind of like just stick to it. You know, they used to say one of the more dangerous things is to find somebody. If you want something important, you hide it in a book. You know, you don't want black people to get it, or you don't want young people to get it. You hide it in a book. Well, no, and so, what's dangerous is somebody with a lack of intelligence walking around, and you hide all the good information in books. Well, no, that's not what it is now. Now it's let's give people limited information, partial information, make them think that they're intelligent, and lead them down a bad path. That's what we're looking to do. It's manipulating people nowadays. Give them partial information. Give them untrue information because you know that people are just going to grab onto it and they're not smart enough or don't have enough energy or enough time or enough desire to check and see whether or not it's true or right. We just believe in what we hear because we like it. And unfortunately, that's the danger zone. And it's happening everywhere. And it's not just happening, I said, with the police situation or with the church situation. It's happening all throughout life. Where people are just making up words, making up terms, and just being like, all right, I put that out there. Y'all just jump on it. That's okay. I make up terms. I've made up a bunch of terms to describe a situation of what I think is going on. But I'm not making up a term to manipulate everybody and be like, all right, I fooled you because I made up this false term. Let's go to one of the comments, which is hitting right on what we're talking about. Are the police susceptible to delirium? So you're putting this delirium out here on everybody else. This excited delirium. Are the police susceptible to the same thing? Yeah, and they use that as their defense. So for us, it gets used as that's the justification and the reason that you ended up passing away. But for everybody else, it's for them it's a defense. But yeah, this is, and again, not in policing. It is in the church. It is in your phones, where you're getting information. You're getting terms that are made up. They're not true at all, in order to distract you or in order to bring you down a bad path. And so what's the answer to that? Well, the clearest answer is that once we have to encourage each other to make sure that what you're reading is true. How do you do that? Well, in the church situation, how do you do that? One, on Thursdays, you come to Thursday Bible study. Or anyone, you ask them, all right, make sure you go to Bible study. And make sure what you're learning and what you're believing you're seeing in the Bible. Not in the book written by whatever person that you really like, but it's actually referenced in the Bible. So what you're believing is going back to the Bible. I think that's so important for us. That's one of the ways to get over that. When we hear terms like excited delirium, unfortunately, let's not just take it for what it is. We can't just believe people just because they say something all the time. We need to get some proof, get some evidence. It's like when we were in school and your teacher was always saying, cite your work. Cite your work. You did a book report. Where did you get this information from? You need to cite where you got it from. You need to put out your sources. Did you get it from, I'm older, so did you get it from the Encyclopedia Britannica? Is that where you got it from? Did you get it from a research journal? Where did you get your information from? Here's the beautiful part about where we are now in society. And, we have the opportunity to now cite our work in a different way. Where when we hear people saying these terms, when we hear people making up this stuff, we have the ability to go into the computer and Google it. You don't even have to do that anymore. My son and daughter's generations, all they're going to be able to, all I have to do is just say, hey, Google, hey, AI, whatever, chatbot, whatever, where did this term come from? Who made this term up? And so much, going back to now, switching again to politics, you see so many times you have these leaders attributing things to Martin Luther King. They're like, well, Martin Luther King said this. He didn't say that. Or this guy said this. He didn't say that. This person did. Martin Luther King probably the biggest one. You got people always lying on him, saying that he said all these different things that he didn't say. But you can easily get to the source and say, look, cite the work. Where did this come from? Is this something that he had to say? And so I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not one of the people who are like, don't believe anything, question everything. I'm not. As long as you go to a reputable place, I'm thinking the majority of the time when you listen to things, you should be okay. Um, if you're going to ABC News or if you're going to NBC, you're going to reputable places, the New York Times, the Washington Post, places that have been vetted over the years, CNN. You do stuff like that, you should be able to trust to a certain degree what you have going on. And you start running around here on the internet, in the back corners in these random little places, and you start going to these extreme churches that may not be affiliated with anybody. You have to then cite your work. You need to make sure that what you're getting is good. Not that it's bad, but you need to have some sight into the work. That's the way I feel. I think that's the solution to the problem. And you may think differently. You may think that the solution is all right. Well, just stay away from whatever, or I don't know. But that's the scary thing that's going on. People are playing on our intelligence by using words, using terms that sound intelligent, they sound smart, but they mean nothing. And then as they do that, we start believing them and we get lost. And I think what has happened so many times, and we've talked about this here, and I know you probably talked about it plenty of places. You constantly hear people saying stuff about the church that doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, in the Bible, you're supposed to say do this and that. Where'd you get that from? You needed to get that from somebody and cite the word. You need to put that into Chat GPT and say, well, where does this come from? Show me which verse this came from. And there's no excuse nowadays not to have correct information in that light. I'm not telling you to record the pastor's sermon, take it home on Sunday afternoon, and then play it inside of the Chat GPT to try to figure out every little thing. But when people are saying new terms, when people are kind of feeding you stuff sometimes, I think we have to have a little bit of vision, or at least ask the question of, show me where this is at in the word. Show me where you got this from. And that's definitely where you have to come, to Bible study. But I think it's so important that we, encourage people to do that going forward. Because in this particular society, in this particular time, it's so many people just making up terms so they can lie to you and manipulate you with their words. And so, again, it's crazy that you have medical examiners. These are doctors. These are people who went to medical school, coroners, and you have first responders. These are people who went to a significant amount of school, making up terms in order to justify the actions of others. Which means, again, I'm not a conspiracy theory. It's not even they're trying to cover their own selves. They're trying to cover the actions of their friends or people they don't even know, but they kind of like what they did. Hey, man, you choked out that big old black guy and you caused him to die. Let me make up a term to kind of help you out because I agree with what you did. Like, that's scary, and that's pretty bad. And I think that's what we have to be able to look out for. Another comment. Many people feel they can read and interpret the Bible on their own. I can read it for myself. I can use the internet to help understand the word. Even in the scriptures, there were those who called themselves teachers and prophets, but they spoke what they felt and not what God commanded. And great point. And let me clarify my point just to make sure that this didn't come out wrong or maybe somebody missed it. In order for you to cite your work, or in order for you to ask somebody to cite their work, in order for you to be able to check out what's going on, you got to be in the church. Like, you can't cite nothing. Like, I'm not telling, and again, I'm being very clear. Don't go out here on the internet and talk about the internet thing, and then I'm gonna go cite that. You have to be a part of something with somebody, some spiritual group, some spiritual leader, somebody, in order to cite the work. So if you're not connected at all and you're talking about, I'm going to read this on my own and interpret this on my own, oh, you're wrong from the jump. I think you're out there, or you're in a bad spot. I think you have to be connected with it. At least the people who are getting, this is going to sound horrible, but at least the people who are getting told this crazy stuff, at least they done got with somebody and they're not trying to do it on their own. Now, it's wrong, or some of the stuff is wrong. But at least they're not trying to sit here and think that they know it all, or to think that they know it all by themselves. because clearly the Bible, you don't know it all. Because if you think that's okay, I don't know what Bible you're reading, because it clearly tells you that's not the way to go. But I want to be clear and clarify that point that, yeah, in order for you to even get to the point of citing work, finding out, well, where's the reference that it came from, you have to be connected with people who are giving you information, not you on your own. You can't cite your own work. You know where you got it from. So I guess that's the plug of, hey, even though people are getting the wrong information, at least they out there getting it. And they're not just sitting at home, not getting any kind of word, or they're making the word up for themselves. Because that's even worse. But to kind of go back to the comment, yeah, it's a lot of folk who think I'm gonna just read it on my own, and then they get just put out there and lost. And it's a lot of folk out there who, I think, and this is me personally talking now, just off of what I believe and not off of any factual information that I've researched here. But I believe this is also a lot of leaders in some different organizations and some religious organizations who feel the same way, where they just got it on their own. And they didn't study under anybody. They didn't learn anything. They're just making it up as they go. And you're making up terms. You're making up new concepts, and you're leading people down some weird paths. And nobody's really sitting back here challenging you and talking about where'd you get that from, because that doesn't sound consistent. And again, it's not a big question thing. It's just, hey, show me where you got it from. I want to read more. I want to be interested more. I want to know what's going on. I think we have to be a little bit more skeptical, especially. And I know we're running out of time. Here's just a common point, just for all of us, just for us here, right? If we don't know what something means, there is nothing wrong with saying I don't know what something means. We do not need to fake and go along like we know what we're talking about, or we know what the other person's talking about. We have to have enough confidence in ourselves that we don't get embarrassed if somebody says something that we don't know what it is. Because I think sometimes that's what happens. Those people, they come in here and they slick. They start throwing out these words, and you just be like, yeah, But you're too scared to ask. I don't know what that means. What is that? What are you talking about? And so I think that may be the route that we need to take sometimes, is to go ahead and be honest and truthful and ask, to say, I don't know what that means. I don't know where you got that from. Can you show me a little bit more? Because in that honesty, then we'll realize either this person is really going deep and they've really shown us something new, which is awesome, or this person is full of it. Either way, I want to know the truth. All right. Well, that's it. So just, let's be on our guard. Let's be on our guard. People they play on our intelligence. I use that term because that's what some of the people they say, well, y'all, you playing on my intelligence. That's what it is. All right. So everyone, thank you for joining us. Hopefully I gave you something, or we discussed something that kind of is pertinent that you can use. Just be careful out there. Just, don't let them play with your intelligence. As always, like we talked about earlier, I want to remind people that on Thursdays at 7:00, we have Thursday weekly Bible study. That is super important. If you want to get with somebody who's not going to play around with your intelligence and that cites their work, then definitely come for Thursday Bible study. On Sundays, we have worship service, 10:00 here, Facebook, YouTube, and at the address on your screen. And then on Tuesdays at 7:00, from 7 to 7:45, we have a time of prayer. You don't pray the whole time unless you want to. Just pray sometime in that time. And that way you will be praying along with us in this ministry. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for everybody who tunes in. Please continue to tune in. Please continue to participate in Impact 2024. Have a good one. Have a blessed one. And join us again. Thank you.